I don't know. He just drove a monster race. And I guess we could talk about
close but no cigar.
Yeah, we could talk about the issue of the race, which was the whole track limit situation, right? So at turn 4, I believe.
Turn 4.
Yes.
Turn 4, a lot of the cars were going wide to the point where it was banned during qualifying. Your laps would be disqualified, which we just talked about with Sergio Perez. And during the race, it was allowed unless it gave you an advantage, which it always gives you an advantage. But yes, what did you think of that whole situation? So towards the end of the race, Max catches up to Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton, which I thought was a very smart move, pushes him all the way out so that Max has no choice but to go outside of the track. I don't know if he actually did that on purpose, but
I think he always does.
Who did it on purpose? Hamilton?
That he pushed them all the way out.
Yep. They all do it.
Everybody does it. Especially
they all do it, especially if you're ahead.
Yes.
Because you have the line. You're ahead in the corner, you have the line. What it came down to, and I get the whole track limit situation. And I forget the phrase what it was. It was a long outstanding advantage or something like that. Long-standing advantage. If you gain a long-standing advantage, meaning if somebody gets past you, obviously that's going to affect the result of the race. If you pass there, you're gonna have to give the place back, which is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
However,
they did respectfully right away, though.
They did it. They did it right away because obviously if they didn't do it, the penalty was not just going to be 5 seconds. They would have probably penalized them with something longer because Michael Massey has that in his pocket. If he gains a long-standing, a long-standing advantage, they can penalize him, whatever they want, or it goes to the stewards, and the stewards then, give their verdict on it. But the race was won through strategy. It wasn't because of that. It's through strategy, meaning because Mercedes had 2 cars at the front.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
They pushed the strategy.
Yep.
They said, we're going for the undercut because if Red Bull doesn't have another car to defend against it, they can't do it. And they made the mistake. They could have covered it, but they made the mistake of saying, we're going to go with our own strategy. That's what Christian Horner said after the race.
They had to, though.
In a way, yes, but that's the whole thing. If you don't have 2 cars up there, you're at a disadvantage.
Yep.
And obviously, they also said that the Red Bull, even though it was as fast as the Mercedes, wasn't that much faster than the Mercedes because he could only get like 2 seconds ahead of him. So the only other way to defend it is to get further ahead, and Max couldn't do it. So that whole, that's to me the whole track of obviously the whole track limits thing is a red herring as far as the result of the race is concerned. Now, the argument is what is a long-standing advantage or whatever it is what they call it. If it was said that Lewis Hamilton at least 29 times went wide.
That's what I was going to say.
And what Christian Horner was saying is that every time he did that, it was a fraction 0.2 of a second advantage.
0.2? That's enormous. Times 30?
Each time.
Jeez.
So imagine.
No, so they're freaking.
So that's the whole point. What is a long-standing advantage?
So the Mercedes is super slow.
No,
I wouldn't say that either. But
I think that
I wouldn't say that either because at some point they went on the radio to Verstappen and they said you can do that too because the Mercedes is doing that. And once they did that, that's when Michael Massey got on the radio and said, "Okay, Lewis, you're getting close. You're gonna get a penalty. Rein it in." And then everybody started reining it in. But obviously during that pass, when Max tried to go on the outside of Lewis, he was already outside the track. You can't. That's always been the case because the same thing happened to Max here in Austin.
In Coda, yeah. 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
3 years ago. 3 years ago
against Kimi.
When I think it was for 3rd place or 2nd place.
Yep, and they took him off the podium. So I mean,
I remember that
because it was a little.
Oh, I'm here.
It wasn't even close. It was like he was far out on that turn, and everybody was going wide. But again, it's just we want the clarity. We want to know because how is that not a long-standing advantage if you're going 30 times and it's costing you anywhere from 1/10 to 2/10 per lap?
Dude, that's 3 to 6 seconds.
Dude, and he only won by 7/10 of a second.
Yeah, that's insane.
So,
No, it's just
what do you think, Wells?
Well, I think that's absurd that obviously even 3 seconds changes the entirety of the race, right?
Mm-hmm.
My opinion coming into it was exactly that. The advantage is he wouldn't be doing it, and we talked about this before. Lewis would not be doing it if it wasn't beneficial for him to go outside of or to push the limits on the track limits, right? So having said that, if I'm Max, I just finish the race and whatever is coming to me, I try and take it, having already called out that Lewis Hamilton is 29 times now taking advantage of the track limits and just fight it out that way.
I think Max did say that. That's what hey, let's just keep going. At the end of the race, we'll deal with what comes out.
But that's the thing. Once you have the race director on the radio to the team saying, all right, you got to give the place back, what you're risking is that...
It wasn't the race director, it was his engineers.
No, but Michael Massey got on the radio with Red Bull and told him he has to give the place back.
Oh, shit.
Well, that was quick.
Yeah, so, I mean, Michael Massey was on it right away.
Gotcha.
So what happens is that you run the risk, even if there is a 5-second penalty, you run the risk. Again, he has that clause in his pocket. If he deems that there was a long-standing advantage by that pass, he can always call in the stewards and they can give him a bigger penalty.
So I think going forward, this track limit issue is going to be very, very, very...
I don't think so.
Because it's not black and white.
I don't
No,
think so.
they are going to work on that. Track limits is track limits. Don't do it.
Because
I don't think so.
You don't think this
No way.
keep getting allowed?
it was the same issue last year at Bahrain, and then the driver started complaining because they couldn't make that corner. It was that same corner. So then they changed the rules during the weekend to what this is right now. But now it's it's in a gray zone,
Yes.
and they didn't change it.
Clarity.
You know, but I mean, the drivers all agreed to it, so it's not like they got caught off guard. The drivers all agreed to.
Every driver admitted to that they knew that they could.
Yeah, because it was
That's
discussed in the drivers'
Gotcha.
briefing. But we seeing it as fans, and anybody else seeing it as fans, it just doesn't kind of make any sense because it's not. It's the consistency issue that we always.
So that's what I
go
wanted
into
to
that
say.
fight.
It goes right back to the whole sometimes Leclerc doesn't get a penalty, but like Grosjean gets a penalty, and if it's like the same, it's not black and white, and that is the major problem.
Even during the race that we were watching, I spoke to you regarding the way Bono said it to Ham. I said, why would he say it that way? They just say, hey, don't ride it no more. Let's keep going. But he elaborated, no, they don't want us to do it anymore. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I think that was also...
They don't want us to do it anymore. Okay.
No, it was, he elaborated on it, on not, I guess, not riding the curve anymore, not going off limits. But I was just saying, hey, just tell him not to do it. That's it. Like, don't elaborate, just so he could keep his head in.
Keep focused. Yeah.
So oh my God, they're playing.
I think that we should go. Remember, what was it, 2 years ago, IndyCar in Austin, same thing that they just said, forget about the track.
Yeah.
that was so awesome.
That was because they were like, it looked like they were going around like in a circle. It was crazy.
Yeah, because if you cut it too short, then you're uneven. But if you go past it, the track is...
But that's the thing. Like, you could understand that in an Indy car because they're not so... Like, the aerodynamics is very different. They don't have a lot of downforce.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to happen next year with these cars. The downforce is not through the arrow. It's going to be through, through the
floor.
diffuser, through, bottom.
Yeah. Hey guys, this is Wellington from the Jump to Start Racing crew. Before we start, I want to make sure to tell you to destroy that like button and to make sure to hit subscribe to be up to date with our episodes and clips. Please make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle on both platforms is @JumpTheStartF1. See you there.